Hello, my friends. This is Dwight from Forest Glory 700. I got a bit of bad news. I dropped my daughter off at school today, and as I was on my way home, I turned on my cell phone, which happens to be an emergency cell phone that I use, and I immediately received an Amber Alert related to an individual by the name of Roopesh Rajkumar, 41-year-old man, who's wanted by the authorities for the abduction of his 11-year-old daughter. I didn't think much of it other than I thought, they'll find the individual and the child will be returned safely to her mother. Unfortunately, that was not the case in this particular situation. Mr. Rajkumar murdered his 11-year-old daughter and was later apprehended by the authorities later that evening or that night. And I was thinking to myself, why would you kill your daughter? And the only thought I could think of was he murdered his daughter to get back at his daughter's mother, because it would make no sense for him to kill his daughter. What can an 11-year-old child do to you to the extent that you would want to take his or her life? And I just thought, man, what a waste. What a waste. And the thing that makes it even worse is that I guess he doesn't have full custody of his daughter. That custody belongs to the child's mother. But February the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, the mother took her daughter up for her birthday. And then I guess there was an arrangement that the father would have her for a few hours and that he was expected to return her, I would assume, to the mother's residence at around 6:30 p.m. in the evening. That never happened, and the mother became concerned and later notified the police of her concern for her daughter's safety, because apparently there must have been some kind of communications where the father of the child was threatening to harm himself as well as the daughter. So the mother had good reason to be extremely concerned. And unfortunately, he ended up murdering his daughter. In terms of how that occurred, we don't know the details at this time. But it still goes back to the idea that this is your own daughter. She's 11 years old. What would be the reason or motivation you would have to kill her other than to get back at her mother? And to me, that makes absolutely no sense, because there's no win-win situation for anyone in all of this. It's just horrendous. I thought about it. I have a daughter myself. And God forbid that I would consider harming my daughter to the extent of taking her life simply because I was disgruntled or unhappy with the conditions between her mother and myself. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. And from what I read on the National Post, apparently he had some medical condition when they apprehended him in Orillia, Ontario. And I can only imagine maybe he was attempting to take his own life, like he had taken his daughter's life, and realized that doing that was a lot more difficult than he possibly imagined. And so it was easier to take his daughter's life. But when it came down to taking his own life, well, he had a much more difficult time accomplishing that. And I've always thought to myself, in these situations where you have individuals that either kill their spouse or their children and their spouse, or kill a bunch of people, and they never take it upon themselves to initiate the act first on themselves. Take your own life first, damn it. Kill yourself first. That way you don't have to bring any additional harm to those that are in your immediate surroundings, or your immediate family. You can write a note, say, I am about to take my life. I'm about to end it because I'm a jackass. I'm an asshole. And I don't want people wondering why I took my life. Well, I took my life because if I didn't take my life, I was going to take the life of others. And so I'm always of the opinion that, it would be best if no one took anyone's life. You didn't take anyone else's life, and you didn't take your own life. And you found more constructive ways to resolve your own issues. But if it comes down to it, I'd always say one should take their own life than to take the life of innocence, especially that of a child. Excuse me, the child has nothing to do with your emotional issues or the discomfort or unhappiness you may have as it relates to the mother of the child or the father of the child. So this is just a really sad and unfortunate set of circumstances where no one wins. There's no winner in this situation. With his actions, no one wins. There's nothing to be gained from this. So it's just so frustrating. And I can imagine that the poor child must have been wondering why her father was doing what he was doing, and he was so committed to following through with whatever intentions he had for her. I don't know if it was premeditated, if it was planned. I would imagine it may have been. It doesn't seem like it was something spontaneous. It was definitely something that he did to get back at the mother of this girl. And I don't know if he attempted to take his life, but my attitude initially was, yeah, kill yourself, whatever. Take your life. You should have done it before you took your daughter's life. And there's a part of me that says, no, you need to live each and every day of your life realizing that you are the one that caused so much harm and so much suffering and pain to the people in your life, and you're the one that's personally responsible for the death of your child. You need to live that hell every single day of your life. That's the way I see that. And I'm not saying I'm better than this individual. I believe that all human beings are prone to evil and to evil inclinations, and if pushed far enough to do things that maybe under normal or regular circumstances they would not do. But again, like I said, this is really tragic and it's really sad. And there's another sad part to this whole thing. Apparently, this Amber Alert was issued by the police after 11 p.m. at night. And there were individuals following the Amber Alert that called into 911 to complain about receiving the Amber Alert at that hour of the night. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's an Amber Alert. It's not like law enforcement decided they were going to have an Amber Alert just to inconvenience people in the middle of the night. It was because a child's life was in jeopardy. And apparently, as a result of the Amber Alert, they were able to apprehend this individual. So the Amber Alert actually works. But for individuals to be complaining because of the inconvenience of time in which this Amber Alert was given is absolutely atrocious. And people that called in should and ought to be completely ashamed of yourself. You are petty, you're superficial, you're just scum. That's the way I'm going to put it. You're just a complete scum of the earth. I mean, I understand that as human beings, you tend to complain about all kinds of crap, but this is something that's legitimate. Law enforcement ain't issuing the Amber Alert just for their own convenience or for their own humor, but someone's safety is at risk. And unfortunately, in this case, a child actually died. But fortunately enough, because of the Amber Alert, law enforcement were able to apprehend this individual within a reasonable period of time. I think shortly after the Amber Alert was given. So shame on those individuals that complained about the Amber Alert, and to the family of the young lady, my heart goes out to you. I think it's a really tragic and unfortunate set of events. And the father of this child, there's nothing I can say other than you need to live each and every day of your life recognizing that you brought about this hell upon yourself. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.